Hey guys, it's Dr. Adam Nally coming to you live if you're watching the replay, talking about 25 reasons for ketosis. We're going to do part number 25 and talk about neurodegenerative diseases. So it should be exciting. This is actually part number 25 of the 25 of the series. I'm excited because we completed all 25. I'm going to be logging in here really quick to Periscope so I can see the questions that you guys are going to have popping up on here. So give me 1 second as I pull this over here and we bring this up. And that way I can see your questions as they pop up live with both Facebook Live here and Periscope right here. So again, my name is Dr. Adam Nally. I'm a board certified family physician and a board certified obesity medicine specialist. I practice in Surprise, Arizona. I live in Waddell, so I'm coming to you live from Waddell this evening. My wife is making dinner in the background, so if you hear plates clatter or you hear a dog barking, she's making some really yummy taco soup, which is actually one of the ketogenic diet recipes that we use in our house. And actually it smells really good right now. Wish you were here. Anyway, hello, Tim. How are you? It's good to see you. Dan Quibbles there. There he is, the bacon man. Hello, Dan. Good to see you. Christy Glover, hello. And Rhonda's here, and Tammy's here. Some of my longtime followers appreciate it. Over on Periscope, I've got PL Adams and Petty Weddy. That's an interesting name. RD Wyaz and Chef, is it Chef Slomo? Cool. From Toronto even. Is it cold in Toronto, Chef, up there? I'm wondering, what's the weather like up there? And then we got Robin and from Michigan, and David from Wake Forest. There's Robin. Oh, there's Robin. Rochelle, how are you? Good to see you. Went to my office for the essentials. I'm actually out. I can't keep them in the office long enough to be in there, Rochelle. So go to the website, ketoliving.com, and you can order them there. I should be getting some in, but it'll probably be at least a week. Welcome, Gene from Maine. Howdy from College Station. Let's see, David is from New York. And I said hello to Tim. So, well, guys, this is an interesting and kind of a cumulative summary of some of the really most difficult and challenging diseases that arise as in middle age or later in life, in some cases, and with MS, anytime throughout the early to late 20s, sometimes earlier than that. So what I want to talk about is neurodegenerative disease and how ketosis affects and helps it dramatically. We know that in the neurodegenerative changes or the neurodegenerative disease processes, one of the big challenges that happens is the mitochondria, which is essentially the carburetor of the body. And those guys will understand carburetors. If you're a lady and you don't understand cars, I apologize. But on the motor, there's a carburetor. The carburetor is where the gasoline and the oxygen are mixed and the explosion creates. It's actually where the power occurs in the engine. It's the powerhouse. In the body, every cell of the body, there's essentially a carburetor. There is called mitochondria. Now we have thousands of them, but we have little carburetors. And various types of neurodegenerative disease usually arise because of a dysfunction or a broken area within that little carburetor or in that mitochondria. In the case of Alzheimer's dementia, it's kind of like shellacking of the carburetor. If you've ever let your car or a two-stroke engine sit for a long time, you can't get it started. It's because the gasoline or the fuel mix lines the area where the explosion would occur, and it stops the explosion from happening. Similarly, in the mitochondria with Alzheimer's dementia, you build up what are called amyloid plaques, and these plaques don't allow the functioning of insulin and glucose in the brain very effectively. And that's one of the potential reasons that Alzheimer's arises. There's also a buildup of something called a dropping of acetylcholine, and so we can't maintain that. And we think it may be related to these amyloid plaques. We're not fully sure there. So what's really cool about a ketogenic state, especially in these disease processes, is that the ketone provides a different fuel source. So the mitochondria can use glucose or it can use ketones. But the cool thing about the ketone is it bypasses most of the moving parts that are necessary for the glucose, to make it simple. So we put the ketone in and it can actually create fuel in a real simple way, bypassing some of these broken areas. So for instance, in multiple sclerosis, we know that there's an increased level of glutathione present. That actually decreases the byproduct of what are called reactive oxygen species. They're like essentially free radicals that build up over time because of a broken section of the mitochondria that can be inherited. And we think, and the ketone actually bypasses that, so you have a decrease in these free radical oxygen particles that are formed, which cause damage to the lining of the neuron. So if you think about the nerve cells are essentially wires with a coating. Just like the light switch in your house, there's a metal piece at the center of the wire, and there's this plastic or usually some kind of a coating that keeps the electricity from jumping or touching things next to it. Well, in MS, that coating gets broken, and it's broken because of free radicals that form in the mitochondria when the mitochondria is not working correctly. The ketone bypasses that and allows for that area to heal up. And provides a different fuel source that's in many cases more efficient in that mitochondria. In the case of Alzheimer's dementia, because of a high level of insulin, there's a buildup of an amyloid protein. Well, because of this pathway within the mitochondria being broken, it's bypassed. It allows for the presence of choline to be produced more efficiently. That amyloid can be removed more effectively because the insulin level falls. Insulin is actually what stimulates the amyloid to be formed, this amyloid beta protein. That actually allows for the body to clear out that amyloid more effectively. That's why we think Alzheimer's is type 3 dementia, because of both a high insulin level and a broken mitochondria. In Parkinson's disease, we don't fully understand, but we know that an area within the brain called the substantia nigra has mitochondria that get damaged, and the specific dopamine neurons or dopamine nerve cells within that part of the brain get damaged. Well, the ketone allows that bypassing effect to occur within the mitochondria, and those cells can heal. And we actually see notable improvement in Parkinson's scores when people are in a ketogenic state for over 30 days. So really, really cool. Now, the last is ALS, Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis. Say that fast 10 times. This is essentially Lou Gehrig's disease, a very debilitating disease that can occur very quickly and in many cases is life-threatening. And so the challenge with this disease is that, again, the mitochondria is broken and the ketone bypasses an area within that mitochondria, glutathione and a couple other areas that allow for more glutathione, allow for some of these byproducts not to build up, and allows the within the muscle cell and within the spinal cord where these nerves are located at, it allows those nerves to heal and see improvement and slowing of that degeneration. So 4 different major disease processes caused by degeneration or breakdown of the nerves, either at the brain or at the spinal cord or where they attach at the muscle, all improved dramatically, and in some cases reversed, because of the presence of increased ketones. But the key is the glucose has to be lowered, lowering the insulin, and then allowing the ketone level to come back up. So using a ketogenic diet for 30 days is just the beginning. That's why I have on my keto cart, we've got 60 and 90 days and 120-day packages, because you're not going to see the true benefits of a ketogenic state until you're hitting 2, 3, 4, 6 months. Weight loss is a byproduct of this. In my case, we're treating disease. And so that's the really cool part about why being in ketosis is so dramatically effective. Now, we still don't understand all the moving parts here, but what we do know is pretty significant and allows for a bypassing or a second fuel that doesn't cause all the problems that arise. So that's reason number 25 to be in ketosis. And hopefully that helps. Now, does adding exogenous ketones help there? Absolutely, because you're providing the ketone, and in many cases, that's what's necessary. But again, in the neurodegenerative diseases, we also need to decrease the inflammation. The only way you can do that is lower insulin. So you've got to both lower the carb intake and lower the insulin, but then also give adequate ketone presence. That's where increasing the fat and lowering the carbs plays a huge role in these issues and these problems. So that's my 5-minute spiel for a minute for you. Yeah, it is awesome information, Barb. Thank you. I appreciate that. But it's really cool. And I see some dramatic changes to these diseases that would never change, even with some of the strongest drugs we have. Because a lot of the drugs we use treat the inflammation, but they don't fix the damaged mitochondria. And that's what the ketones do. So that's why it's so important. Hey, Julie, you're back. A second night. That's awesome. All right. Faith, you're not too late, but you could watch the replay. Always check it out. This cast is my new addiction. That's awesome. Martha says, hey, Kim Peters in Queen City. You're in Queen City. Awesome. I have MS. Keto has helped me immensely. Kathy, that's great. And you don't take any meds. I think I have 5 MS patients in my practice that do so well with a ketogenic lifestyle and the addition of exogenous ketones. So I can't emphasize how important that is. Hello from McAllen, Texas. Oh, I got lots of Texas folks. Apple Valley, Minnesota is where Paul's at. Good to see you, Paul. I'm sure I missed a few people here. So let me catch some questions. If you got some questions, Better late than never, says Lori. Yeah, exactly. Scott says he was baking some bacon. That's why he's late. Well, Scott, eat your bacon and watch the replay. All right. So milk kefir daily. Is it okay on keto? Kefir is great as long as there's no milk in it. Now, I don't. Do you make your own kefir, or is this kefir you're purchasing? In most cases, I think the kefir's there's no more lactose in it, so I'm pretty sure it's okay. But check the lactose content of it. Hello from Wisconsin, Doc. Dallas, Texas. D-Link. Lovely 48 degrees in Toronto, says Chef. I asked him how low the temperature was. 48 degrees. We're getting close to that right now in Phoenix. We were down to, I think we're down to 50 this afternoon because we had a rainstorm come in. All right, why do you say that Precision Extra is more accurate than Quest Lab blood glucose test results? Because I've run both of them, and I seem to find that when I compare it to the regular standard lab, it seems to be a little more effective. That's why. And I've had a lot of people not do well with the Quest Lab blood glucose monitor in that regard, for whatever reason. But with the Precision Extra, I'm actually looking not for glucose, I'm looking for ketones. But for whatever reason, the numbers seem to be off by about 10 to 15 points. I've seen that. I have some friends that have seen that as well. A lot of patients have seen that. Have I noticed any benefit of ketosis on hearing loss? Dave, that really depends on the cause of the hearing loss. So there are multiple causes of hearing loss, and so that's the hard part to answer is what type are you referring to? If it was damage to the neurons because of inflammation, probably. But again, it really comes down to the reason. Any concerns with dairy during keto? Yeah, dairy is going to kick you out of keto. Well, if it's dairy containing lactose, David, it's going to kick you out of ketose. Now, cheese is considered dairy, hard cheese is considered dairy, but most of the lactose is gone, so it's just protein and fat. That's okay. Butter is dairy, but most of the lactose is gone because the butter's been converted from it's cream that's been processed. So the butter has a little bit of lactose in it, very minuscule amounts, but it's usually not that bad. If you're eating dairy like milk, that's a problem. Have you noticed any benefits? Oh, I asked that was the other question I already answered. What do you recommend for people training with weights 5 days a week? So Joe, is it Jovan? What do you recommend for people training with weights 5 days a week? Jovan, I recommend don't drop the weights on your toe. That's what I recommend. I work out with weights 2 to 3 days a week if I can, and I love weight training. So I think it works wonderfully well with keto, even better than cardiovascular exercise. Hello from Dripping Springs. Now that's a name. Where is Dripping Springs at, Lori? Any thoughts on stem cell therapy? That is a whole other topic in and of itself. So it really, and there's multiple reasons you could do the therapy. You may want to be a little more specific as to what you're asking about and what you're treating with that stem cell therapy. Do I have any patients virtually? I have patients. Some of them see me via telemedicine, which is considered virtual, but they're actually real people through a telemedicine video, yes. But I don't have any virtual patients, no. I'd love to hear more in relationship to Parkinson's. Carissa, I would love to tell you more, but we don't know much. That's the problem. What we do know, though, is that the ketone improves the nerve cells, specifically the dopamine nerve cells at the substantia nigra. That's what we think is happening, but that's about all we know up to this point. Hello, Crystal. How are you? All right. You guys have a ton of questions tonight. Jovan, you liked my the weight joke there. Yeah. If you're using weights on keto, just don't drop the weights on yourself. Hello from Puerto Rico. Says Astrid. Welcome back, Astrid. It's good to see you. What do you think of exogenous ketones? Renee, you must have just barely logged in because I love exogenous ketones and I drink them every day and I have for the last 2 years. I think they're fantastic. Go to my website. You can check out the Keto Cart. You can go to docmusclesketones.com. That's my link to the store for the brand that I like. In regards to exogenous ketones, I think they're a fantastic adjunct. Do you have to have them? No. And there's going to be a bunch of people that send me hate mail saying, I use real food to be in ketosis. Well, good for you. You don't work 18 hours a day, I'm assuming, and have drug reps bring you crappy lunches. If you have the ability to live on your own and cook real food every day and stay in ketosis, more power to you. But many of us live our lives and we don't have time. I've got multiple moms on here that are running back and forth between kids' games and football games and plays and things like that, and they often don't have time to eat. So an exogenous ketone is a great way to bridge those meals and have some fuel and feel good about it. I am a keto diet beginner, said Astrid. Well, Astrid, then you need to go to my website at darkmuscles.com/membership. Sign up for the membership there. That'll give you all the information you need as a beginner to jumpstart and get into the process. That's why I set it up there. I have so many patients that can't come see me in my office, and they go, what do I do? Well, that's why I created the membership site. Go to the membership site, sign up for the Ketogenic Ketogenic Living 101 course. That gives you 4 modules, 2 videos, access to the diet that I wrote, and it continually update and modify. And it gives you access to the Keto Clan Facebook group, which you get to interact with me on a daily basis, asking all sorts of questions and cool things. And so check that out. Hello, Sheila from Texas. How long before you should have regular blood work done to get everything leveled out after starting keto? I usually check blood work initially, so we see what the baseline is and see how bad off you are. And then, which is always really cool, because I show people, like I had a patient come in, I had one lady with 600 type triglycerides and another one who had another male who had triglycerides of 1100. Both of them are down under 50 now within 3 months. Your triglycerides will actually change within about 3 days. I'm sorry, within 24 hours, but the overall cholesterol will change within 3 days. Usually I tell people about 3 months in, that's when you want to check it. And that's usually when insurance allows us to check it anyway, so it works out perfectly. Renee says, thank you. Amen on not having time. What brand? I like the Prove It brand. They're the most expensive. They're expensive because of the marketing approach that they use. I am not a direct market guy. I just have the products. I use the products. If you have a product and it works well, I'm going to use it. And I've tested all the other products on myself, and they don't work nearly as well as Prove It's do. That's the big argument, is they're so expensive, and I get that. But you know, if you're using a medicine and it works well, why not use the best one? If somebody else comes up with a better ketone, I'm all for it. But right now, Prove It brand is the best one, and they have the most flavors. They're everything they're doing is backed by science. So those are things I like about their product. I use multiple products. I've tested multiple products. I'm not discounting one or the other. People ask me, why do you use Prove It? Well, that's why I use Prove It, because they have a great product. They're consistent, so I like that, and they have some good flavors. What triggers gluconeogenesis? The body's need for glucose or the presence of excess protein? Tim, the stimulus for gluconeogenesis is actually a hormone from the fat cells called resistin. And as your fat cells gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it overproduces resistin, which drives the process of gluconeogenesis. Insulin actually stimulates that to get worse. So insulin stimulates that resistin at the liver to stimulate that excess sugar production. So it's not necessarily the protein itself, but it's the insulin response from certain types of protein, or the insulin response from sick fat cells that have been overfilled, if that makes sense. Excuse me. Krista says, I was recently diagnosed with Sjogren's and psoriatic arthritis in low-carb, high-fat since July, and my doctor was thrilled since it naturally reduces inflammation. Now, the other cool thing is the presence of the ketone molecule itself diminishes the inflammation at multiple levels, both in the mitochondria and also at what's called an NLRP3 inflammasome, which is another video I've already talked about. You gotta go check that one out, Krista. But that's what it does. It decreases the inflammation in that regard. Can these conditions be reversed, and would exogenous ketones be a benefit? Krista, I have been amazed that people who do a ketogenic lifestyle see improvement, and then when they add the exogenous ketones and they maintain the lifestyle, it actually improves even more, because you're raising that ketone. And in the case of inflammation with psoriatic arthritis, and where it's truly an inflammatory disease, not so much a neurodegenerative inflammation, but it's inflammation being driven by the NLRP3 inflammasome, ketones work wonderfully well in that case. So I'm very excited by that. You are very welcome, Astrid. Jolene says, I live in Illinois and would love to be a patient of mine. Jolene, each state has its own requirements, and my staff, if you call my staff, go to my website, docmuscles.com, you can link to my site, call us up and we can tell you individually in each state. There are some requirements. Sometimes you have to actually come physically see me in Arizona in order to get started. So cool. Yes, Kelly, it's very cool. Prove It is the best, and I've used them for a year, never felt better. I've been using them since they started the company about 2 years ago, and I've been very happy with them. I don't push the marketing side. I just use the product. I love the product. It's a great product. If I wanted to fast from sleeping and waking up till noon, does heavy cream and tea break the fast? Okay, Wanda, you have to define the fast, because fasting is defined in so many different ways. There's complete fasting, from having absolutely nothing, including water, to solid food fasts to various things. The question is, what is your goal with fasting? And then what foods do you avoid eating during that period of time? And some, in case of some drink, what do you avoid eating and drinking in that period of time that's going to give you the benefit of increased ketosis? Because that's really what the fast does. The fast increases the ketosis. In essence, is all it's doing. The being in a ketogenic state does the same exact thing. But if you overshoot protein, if you do too much carbohydrate with your meal, it could put you out of ketosis. So a lot of people use fasting because it's an easy bridge into into ketosis. If I'm producing ketones via my way of eating, so do I need exogenous ketones? If you're producing ketones adequately, Leah, and you're getting the benefit from your diet alone, then you don't need exogenous ketones. But if you have a lifestyle that allows you to maintain that, fabulous. I love that. My lifestyle doesn't allow that for me. So I use them as a bridge. I'll use them as a they're not designed as a meal replacement, but I use them as a meal replacement because I'm not hungry after I drink them. And so there's a number of there's reasons for using a fuel. Again, think about it as a fuel. You're either letting your liver make the ketones themselves because of the way you're eating, or if you don't have access to a good form of fat in a period of 6 to 8 hours, you could fast. But if you're like me and you're insulin resistant and the hunger cravings kick in sooner than later, or if you're very physically active and you need the fuel, then using exogenous ketone is a way to provide that. All right, please answer. Doc, is it true that you can have positive alcohol on a breathalyzer? So remember, Tammy, it's not alcohol they're testing for in the breathalyzer. There's a byproduct of alcohol metabolism in the gut or in the stomach, in the liver that is blown out through its acetone. And depending on the level of acetone that you eliminate through the breath, it will be positive on the meter. Now, some people, when people are in ketosis, some blow off more acetone than others. So you could blow a false positive on the breathalyzer, not because of alcohol, but because of acetone being measured in the breath. That's a real simple answer, but hopefully that helps. Have you seen any benefits of ketosis for Lyme disease? I actually have, David. There's a whole group of people that use ketosis to diminish the inflammation driven by Lyme disease, and it's actually great. What about Pompe disease, glycogen storage diseases? You know what? These glycogen storage diseases do really, really well with a ketogenic lifestyle. I have actually a couple patients that have glycogen storage diseases, and this is the way they function really well. Will being in ketosis help someone with advanced Alzheimer's? It helped my wife's grandmother dramatically. It actually it improved her stage from late end stage to stage 4. It was stage 4. It was actually great. It didn't reverse it, but it dramatically improved the staging. She asked that twice. All right. Jessica says, is keto effective in helping with fibromyalgia? From the perspective of inflammation, yes, it is. That part is. And I just totally neglected Periscope over here. All right. Let's see. Is the 1.5 teaspoons of pink salt you recommend per day or per meal? Per day, Bitcoin Jr. Is there a difference between gluconeogenesis? Let me clarify that. The average body needs roughly 3 grams of sodium and potassium per day. You can get a close approximation of that with about a teaspoon and a half of the pink Himalayan sea salt. That was from another Periscope we talked about. That's about the equivalent crossover. Love you being geeky. 2 monkeys and a coconut. Loves that. I don't think I'm geeky, but I took my pocket protector off just to be sure of that. Full fat cottage cheese and high lactose. I would avoid the cottage cheese like a plague. Actually, give the cottage cheese to the neighbor you don't like, because the cottage cheese has too much glucose in it, or too much lactose in it. I have not found a cottage cheese that doesn't. That lactose is going to kick you out of ketosis almost every time. I'm sorry you love it. I love cottage cheese too, but it's the lactose that makes me happy. And it makes me happy for a short time, and then I get grumpy because I gain weight, and it kicks me out of ketosis. Can Candida use up your ketones? No. Funguses can't use ketones. That's the whole point. So when you in ketosis, Candida dies naturally, and you don't have to do some crazy diet. You just, some people call it ketogenic diet crazy, but hey, it works. Is the number 1.5 teaspoons? Oh, I already answered that question about the salts. All right. Great questions, guys. Okay, let's see. So on Facebook Live over here, that Wanda said, my goal with fasting, I like eating noon to 8 p.m., but I'd love to use heavy cream in the morning, way before noon. I guess I just need to buy a ketone measuring to this. I use heavy cream every night before I go to bed, and some mornings if I want to use heavy cream, I use it. As long as it's a good heavy cream, because not all heavy creams are created equal. I found that some actually kick me out and some don't. So but I don't, and pick the brand you like, test yourself and see if it does. You were welcome, Charlotte. I don't remember what I did. Oh, she wanted to know about the Alzheimer's. Kim Peters says, Kim Baggett says, I'm new to your page. Do you have a previous podcast on keto and autoimmune disease? I actually do, yes. So go to docmuscles.com, Doc Muscles Live. That's the menu tab. And there must be 80 videos there. Scroll down to the thyroid ones and the autoimmune ones, and they're there. They're there. I guarantee they're there. You can also find them on. There's also on my YouTube channel. There's the 25 series is on there as well. So great questions, you guys. Any other questions about the 25 reasons to be in ketosis or reasons for being in ketosis or okay. Shelly says, what do you feel about keto and seizures? Well, I don't like seizures. They're no fun for anyone that gets them. But keto and seizures, the amazing thing, Shelly, is that prior to the advent of these really powerful anti-seizure drugs, which have multiple side effects, but they're very effective, we would use a ketogenic diet for people, kids and adults with intractable seizures or seizures that would last a long time or be hard to control. And being in ketosis stops the seizures. That's how exogenous ketones got invented, was because one of the byproducts with some people some of the Navy SEALs who dive with rebreather scuba type gear, the kind that doesn't have bubbles, was that if they weren't in ketosis, up to a third of them could have seizures. And so they invented exogenous ketones to put the SEALs into ketosis faster so that they wouldn't seize if they came off the leave and had birthday cake with their family, and then all of a sudden 12 hours later got to go on a mission. You got to be in ketosis, and as many of you know who've been doing a ketogenic lifestyle for a while, it can take some people 3 to 5 days to get into ketosis effectively to prevent you from having a seizure. Now, if you're underwater, 100 feet of water, and you're coming in on a mission and you have a seizure underwater, kind of slows you down socially. Not so exciting. So being in ketosis is essential, and that's where exogenous ketones got developed in the early 90s, and they've been used by the Department of the Navy for years for that reason. They got commercialized a few years ago, and that's how we added them as an adjunctive piece. So being in ketosis stops seizures wonderfully, but all of the doctors don't want to do it because most doctors like bread, and we were told in medical school that you have to have carbohydrates to be alive, but there is no actual carbohydrate deficiency disease. But for some reason, we were told you have to have carbohydrate. And so many physicians don't think it's possible to live this lifestyle continually, although I've been doing it for 13 years. And so they don't think the patients can, so they won't use it. That's where a lot of people say, well, you can't do a ketogenic diet for a long time, it don't work. It actually does, and it does very well if that's the way you're opting to treat your seizures. That's a different podcast, Faith. That's actually from the old Keto Talk podcast. It's actually docmuscles.com/Doc Muscles Live is where these videos end up going to. Thanks. You're welcome, Sky, for all the information. Does type 1 diabetic person? Can a type 1 diabetic person be on nutritional ketosis? I have multiple type 1 patients that are on a ketogenic lifestyle. We just have to make sure they're getting their adequate insulin, and that's the one key. Love keto, this keto way of life. Been doing it for over a year. That's fantastic, Julie. All right, and any rules for eating avocado in particular, except for carb count? Just make sure you don't leave any on your fingers. I guess that would be the only other rule I'd say about eating avocado. And avocado has about 18 grams of carbohydrates, so you have to be wary of that. I have some people that are going, well, Doc, I had 3 avocados. Well, that's almost 30 grams of carbohydrate. So, half an avocado, a fourth of an avocado, great. Just remember there are carbs in that avocado. I'm in Arizona, so guacamole is a food group down here, and we love avocado. So it's great. And I use it all the time. Just be careful of the portions, and make sure you don't leave any on your fingers. Is there a way to obtain transcript of my live sessions? Tonight's would be especially good. I have not actually transcribed them, probably because, well, I just haven't. But I could actually transcribe it, and I'm working on getting some of these done. I just haven't done them yet, but that would be great. I'll try to see if I can get the 25 transcribed and see if that works. Just for you, Laura. That's how much we love you. What are your thoughts on blood food sensitivity testing and ketosis? I've been in practice 18 years. I've been doing a ketogenic lifestyle for 13 plus years. And in that process, I have rarely found that I have to do any allergy testing with patients who are following a ketogenic lifestyle because of the decreased inflammation effect. So do I test for allergies with people in food testing? I do, but I find that most of the time the food testing is not necessary. You're welcome, Laura. All right, and then let's see. So Nicole says, when are they ready? When they are ready for the message, they'll receive it. Yes, they will. I'm not sure what that's related to, Nicole. Yummy avocado. Yeah, okay. Would you recommend ketosis for kids who are obese? Absolutely, Dr. Dominique. I really would. I do. Again, with kids, I don't recommend ketosis per se. I recommend low carb because kids' metabolisms are so fast that when we put them on low carb, they actually grow into their weight, which is what we want to do. We don't want kids to lose weight. We just want them to grow into their weight. And that's how we approach obesity with children. I find that just lowering their carbs actually allows them to start to grow into that weight, and they actually do really well. And kids love bacon if you give it to them. They actually love bacon more than fishy crackers, I think. At least my kids did. Hi Doc, I'm late joining. Are there any studies yet concerning keto and food allergies as far as reducing risk of anaphylaxis due to the immune system benefits of a keto lifestyle? Are you asking are you asking Anna that if we put you in ketosis, do your anaphylactic food allergies go away? I've never seen that if that's the question you're asking, and I would be very hesitant to test someone who has anaphylaxis with a specific food allergy. But I do find that general allergic rhinitis, so environmental allergies, diminished by up to 65%. There's actually 3 studies, I think 2 or 3 studies that have been done showing that. Carbs versus net carb. Oh, are you going to ask that question, Faith? All right. So if you want net weight loss, do net carbs. If you want total weight loss, do total carbs. Hopefully that's my answer for you. Net carbs is a fallacy. It's a sales gimmick to get you to buy the net carb containing processed low carb food so that you crave it later and go back and buy more. That's really what it is. Net carbs, the only net carb that I allow people to subtract is a leafy green. If it's leaf and it's green and you haven't blended it, cooked it, or juiced it, then you can subtract the fiber in the, you don't have to count the fiber in leafy greens. But anything else, count the carbs. Have you tried Happy Coffee? Tanya, I don't drink coffee, so no. But I heard people say that it makes them happy, I guess. Do you notice you get sick less often? Yeah, I get sick a whole lot less often, David, because of the increased immune effect or immune, let me back up and rephrase that. A ketogenic lifestyle seems to improve general immunity for a lot of people. And I get sick a whole lot less. Has any recommendations for how to find a friendly keto doc? Should we look for functional medicine practitioners? No. Okay, I am not a functional medicine practitioner. I'm a board certified family physician. I am a DO, but I'm not an MD. I do osteopathic manipulation. I'm an osteopath. I'm a family practitioner, board certified, and I'm also an obesity medicine specialist, board certified. The challenge I find with functional medicine is that they approach. There's some good things they do, but there's also some approaches that I've had a lot of functional medicine docs stop drugs in patients that should never have been stopped. I have a lot of challenges with some of those things. So if you can find a good functional medicine doctor who understands their limits, great. A physician needs to understand his or her limits, and if they do, fantastic. But a lot of people overstep those limits because they feel like they're a doctor, or people look to them as if they understand all of the components of every aspect of medicine when they only understand one area. If I don't understand it, I'm going to tell you I don't understand it. And the functional medicine, I'm not decrying functional medicine, but a lot of people think I'm functional medicine and I'm not. I'm actually a full spectrum family practitioner, board certified on family medicine and obesity medicine. Go to Jimmy Moore. If you go to oh my word. I typed in keto doctor finder, and there's actually Jimmy Moore has a finder, and there's another one called oh my gosh, I just forgot the website. It's is it Ketosis? or Ketogenic.com, they have a doctor finder there too. They've got some pretty good lists there. And now a lot of those docs that are listed there they may be regular doc, they may be allopathic docs, MDs, they may be osteopaths, DOs, they may be functional medicine, or they may be chiropractors. And so you just have to look to see what type of physician they are. Osteoarthritis and ketosis tell you. I already did one about it, but the nuts and bolts asterisk is that if you're in ketosis, it diminishes your inflammation from the arthritis by up to 50% is what I usually see. Carbs and net carbs, which do you count? Oh, well, I already answered that question. You're thinking in terms of avocado net carbs. My kids eat what I eat. They only have asked me not to make 1 or 2 dishes. You know, my son Bonnie would come home and he'd say, "Are we having real food or fake food, Dad?" And so, but when we started giving him bacon, pepperoni, and hot dogs, he loved it. So it's great. Avocados are good, but dang, they have a lot of carbs. Yes, they do, Tara-Lee. Do you just not like coffee, or is there a reason? I don't drink it for religious reasons. That's why I don't drink it. Did I miss the barking dogs? You know what? My wife and daughter are in cooking dinner, and so the dog usually doesn't bark when my wife's around, unless he's irritated. Great questions, you guys. All right, I keep missing Periscope over here. Is cannabis a preventative medication or even nutrition? Oh, Dusty, you're going to ask the pot question, aren't you? Okay. Cannabis, whichever part of the country you come from, cannabis is it's a medicine. I mean, it's a medicine. It's also an illicit drug that's highly addictive and a bridge drug for other addictive substances. The problem is it increases your appetite. And if you're trying to lose weight, that's the last drug I want to give you. So I'm not a fan of it. Let's see here. You're welcome. Okay, let's see. By the way, loved 22 truths that I've learned. Had to relearn. Adding it to the calendar to reread. Oh, thank you, Laura. That's nice. Yeah, I wrote it was Sunday, and so I wrote a more religious-y kind of post. Some people go, "Oh, you can't talk about God and science at the same time." Bullcrap. Yes, you can. Am I a doctor? Asked Daniel. Yes, I am, and I also play one on TV. I don't know. I'm not on TV. I'm kidding. I am a board-certified family physician, a board-certified obesity medicine specialist, and I practice in Surprise, Arizona. So yes, I am a full-fledged diet doctor. Bitcoin, looks like we lost you for a minute. All right, let's see. Oh my gosh, a whole slew of questions came through. Do you know about? Let's see. Do I know about Xanthamax? Xanthamax. It's ringing a bell. Someone told me about it, and I'm sorry, it's slipping my mind right now. So no, I don't know the answer about Xanthamax. Is that the new stuff in? Well, tell me about Xanthamax, Tanya. I don't know what it is. Do I find? Oh, see, what sugar do I use? I don't use one, Ivy. I do find CBD oil stops my nausea. All right, Caden. CBD is a derivative. It's one of the extracts from the cannabis, which does not, as far as we understand, does not have habit-forming or addictive properties because there's no THC in it, which is the addictive part of it. We do know that CBD does have some anti-inflammatory properties, but the studies are still small and they're still not huge, but it's gaining lots of popularity. So I have some patients that like it. It does not seem to kick them out of ketosis, so I'm okay with that. But I don't know fully. It's outlandishly expensive. So if you're independently wealthy, great. I'm not, and nor are many of my patients. A few of them are, but if it works for you and it's doing, I'm okay with that with CBD oil. What part of the country are you located? I'm in a suburb of Phoenix, in the northwest corner, a city called Surprise is where my practice is. You love the Sunday post. Oh, thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Yeah, my Sunday post. I talk about lifestyles. Ketosis is a lifestyle, but there's more to just your diet. To be a healthy person, there's a mental aspect, there's a spiritual aspect, there's a physical aspect. There's lots of parts to the human psyche, and so I try to address all of it. Anna says, yes, concerning ketosis and possible food allergy improvement, ask for a daughter with multiple food allergies, hope and prayer, improvement and cure her in a lifetime. Anna, one of the things I would look at is specifically I have a lot of people with food allergies that do very, very well with the ketogenic lifestyle. What do you think about MCT oil? I like MCT oil, but I like coconut oil better. And the reason I like it better is, number one, MCT oil is not cheap, it's expensive. And the other reason is that 75% of coconut oil is MCT. The other 25% is long chain fatty acid. The benefit of the MCT is it gives you energy and it quickly turns into ketones, but the long chain fatty acids actually suppress appetite better than MCT does. So if you have the munchies, then using just MCT alone is not going to be effective. You want to use a combination, which is real food, coconut oil, or butter. Kind of a novel concept. Ivy Awesome says Ivy. I'm not sure what Ivy was asking. Oh, sugar. Let's see. Prove it promoter here. If anyone interested. Okay. Love all this information. You know what, Renee? You did this last time. It's not nice to blab jack or Facebook jack someone's stream. Because I use the same product. Popping into say hi. Have to watch later. Have a great evening. Thanks, Sherry. Check us on the replay. Xanthamax, Happy Coffee, Oh yeah, okay. Is that the new neurotropic? I've been looking at them. I get the same benefit from a ketogenic lifestyle, and so are there some additional products you can add? Yeah, but my challenge is I'm a real food kind of guy. I have lots of allergies, and keto improved them greatly. Oh, great, Sky, that's awesome. All right, do you have a blog post on good oils and bad oils? I don't, Gene, but my post about the oils is actually in the Ketogenic Living 101 course on my membership site. So if you go to the membership site, I've got a whole topic on oils. Because that's a big question for a lot of people. So you get a copy of my diet there, and you get a whole post on. It's actually a written, printable PDF on oils and how I use them and why. What's the difference and how do you figure that all out? Tanya says yes. Oh, it's the neurotropic. Okay, cool. All right. It's cool information. I've been watching it, but I'm not absolutely convinced yet. I want to see some more of the science behind it. Let's see. It sounds like medicine for xanthomas. Well, if it is, that's a big deal, but I don't think it is there, Caden. What about 100% caprylic acid? So remember, caprylic acid is a medium chain triglyceride, and you can use it. If you want to use caprylic acid, remember that's what they're deriving the MCT from that to make the brain octane. Caprylic acid is fine. If you want to use straight MCT, fabulous. I have no problem with it. But you're not getting the benefit of the long chain fats, nor are you getting the benefit of the vitamins associated with real fats. Vitamin D, vitamin B12, vitamin 6. Remember, these are fat-soluble vitamins. So if you're eating real food, you're going to get the vitamins with it and the trace minerals that come with those real fats. Where if you're using a pure derived MCT for the benefit of just energy, great. But if you're using that as your primary oil source, you're missing out. Now, if that's what you want to do, then great. Go over and buy my vitamins from ketoliving.com, and then you can create the same thing, but it's going to cost you a lot more. But I'm happy with that. If you want to do it, great. Happy with that. That's why I'm being sarcastic, but I'm a big fan of real food. Hopefully, I'm really sarcastic tonight. I'm not sure what it is. You guys are asking really good questions that make the sarcasm just fly. And I hope I'm not offending. If I've offended you on here by being sarcastic, I apologize. That's not my intent. I find people learn better when they giggle a little bit. At least I do. When I was in medical school, they used to try to make us be in tears, and I didn't learn very well that way. Will glucosamine for joint pain kick you out of ketosis? It actually can, Bitcoin. I've had some people with glucosamine kick them out of ketosis, myself included. Do you do so that was the bad oil question. All right. Hello, Lee. How are you? And Caden says, I find I feel more ketogenic when I eat long chain fats like beef tallow, faster, stronger, smarter. Oh yeah, bigger, stronger, faster. If you're using real food, beef tallow, real butter, coconut oils, olive oils. Now olive oil is more long chain fat than medium chain. But if you're using these foods to cook with and use as your fuel sources, adding a little MCT here and there is great. I don't have a problem with that. What I find though is that a lot of people go, well, I used all that MCT stuff and I used ketones and MCT and I didn't get the benefit. Well, because you're not eating real food and you're not getting the benefit of what real food brings too. So that's why I'm also a big fan of real food. Linda likes the humor. Well, good. Hopefully I didn't offend Linda. That's awesome. All right, benefit for gallbladder issues or gallbladder removal. Daughters having issues with food after removal of gallbladder. My wife hasn't had a gallbladder for 20 years, and she's been doing this with me for 13 years. People without a gallbladder, if they're not used to the high fat, have to increase the fat slowly. Otherwise, they will get dumping syndrome, which is, well, it is what it sounds like. So So just increase the fat slowly if you are missing a gallbladder, but you're still going to be okay with it. And if you're having gallbladder problems, I've had a couple patients that shifted into a ketogenic diet, and it improved those gallbladder problems because of how the high carb and fat together stimulate cholecystokinin and the coagulation of bile acid. Have you heard of Ketolin? Chiropractor. I have not heard of that, Debbie. I don't know what that is. Where did you come up with the name Doc Muscles? Julie, it's on my website, but when I was in medical school and I was gaining a bunch of weight, sitting there doing nothing, reading and trying to become smart, but yet not very physically active, I decided I was going to go back to the gym and start I always liked lifting weights. So I started going to the gym every single day, and one of the trainers there saw me there every day, and he goes, well, he says, by the end of medical school, if you keep this up, you're going to be a doctor of muscles. And a friend of mine heard it and goes, oh yeah, Doc Muscles. And that's where and then right after that, we had to pick an acronym, a name for Twitter or something. And I thought, I was not very creative at the moment, and said, well, Doc Muscles. And amazingly, I was able to get Doc Muscles as the name across most of the internet. So it's great. How many tablespoons of coconut oil would you recommend? I have one in my coffee each morning, and I have considered 2. I do 2 a day. I have Alzheimer's patients that do 6 a day. So it really depends on what you're using it for, and what you're trying to supplement with. Do I work out fasted? Oops, let me go here. I try to work out fasted, Kim, because if I eat food and work out, I get nauseated. So I do it because of a functional issue. I find that I work out better if I'm fasted. Are there ketogenic foods that help with high cortisol levels? Actually, Bonnie, just being in ketosis fixes cortisol. That's the whole point. Are there keto-friendly meds or supplements to help with sleep? Well, the ketone itself actually enhances sleep. As far as I know, there's no great supplement that does it, but being in ketosis does help sleep. I'm menopausal, having difficulty staying asleep, only getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep, and restlessness for another 3 to 4 hours. Then you probably need to be in ketosis, Celine. You love it. All right. Are there ketogenic foods that help with low cortisol? Oh, you asked that. So cortisol is unrelated to polymyalgia rheumatica. Cortisol is different. Cortisol is not steroids. Steroids are different than cortisol, although they're both derived from steroids themselves. Cortisol is a hormone produced by the adrenal gland in a stress response. Polymyalgia rheumatica doesn't, as far as I've seen in the literature, there's no association with high cortisol and polymyalgia rheumatica. Although we use steroids to decrease the inflammation that occurs with polymyalgia rheumatica because it's an inflammatory-driven disease. So a ketogenic lifestyle helps that. Doesn't solve it, but it helps it. What do you think of eating only one keto on one? Are you asking about eating one time a day, a 1,200 calorie meal? Raymond, I don't count calories. Calories is a swear word in my office. You don't need to count calories. There's no calorimeter in the body. I have some people that eat one meal a day because they're full for the rest of the day. If that works for you, great. But if you're only eating one meal and you're restricting calories, calorie restriction drops muscle mass and testosterone by up to 50% in men and in women. That causes the opposite to happen. So I'm not a fan of intentional calorie restriction because of that side effect, if that makes sense. Not a lover of sardines, anchovies, or fish oil supplements is effective. No. Fish oil is great, but it's a long-chain fatty acid, specifically containing EPA and DHA. The fish oil is great because of the omega-3 component that's there. So if you want to take a fish oil supplement to replace the sardines, great. Do you like salmon? Salmon gives you the same thing. But you said you're not a lover of, well, I don't think anyone's a true lover of sardines and anchovies. That has to grow on you, Gene. Although I like sardines packed in oil, that tastes really yummy, but that had to grow on me. That's something that grows on you. If not, use salmon. Most people enjoy salmon or sashimi. Thoughts on consuming seeds? Chia and hemp will kick you out of ketosis if you do too much. Yes, Juanita. As I lose, that's the hemp question. It's like pot, hemp, and CBD night. As I lose weight, how often do I need to adjust my calories? You don't need to adjust your calories. You just need to adjust when you eat based on when you're hungry. That's what I tell people. Eat when you're hungry. Don't eat when you're not. You guys are asking great questions. You're doing great. Best oil for homemade mayo. You know, if you want to, I've had some people use olive oil, some people use coconut oil, some people use avocado oil. If you, any of you guys on here have a good recommendation for Chef, is it Chef Slow-Mo? It sounds like I'm beating that name up. If anybody has a good idea for their homemade mayo, what oil do you use? My wife is the cook, so I don't know that answer. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to it. Are the vitamins necessary? I usually recommend them, Janet, because a lot of people don't always get everything they need as they're changing their diet. So I say yes, but if you're eating perfect, real foods, you could probably get away without it. Please repeat the URL for the videos. It's docmuscles.com/docmuscleslive. So if someone wants to plug that in there, that'd be great. If you go to my website, go to docmuscles.com. On the right-hand side, it says Doc Muscle Live. Click that, and that'll take you to the videos. The other one that says podcast is a link to the previous Keto Talk podcast I did with Jimmy Moore. You said you don't count calories, but is there a minimum recommended calorie intake? No, there's not. There really isn't. We are hormonal beasts, and the hormones tell us, I need fuel, you don't need fuel. And when they're telling you that, if you listen, then you'll if you don't need the fuel, then your body will use its own because you're not hungry. Does that make sense? I'm trying to have a baby, and I apologize. My wife is blending something exciting in the background. So if there's a high-pitched sound, it's not me whining or my dog. It's the blender. Trying to have a baby, and I'm on low-carb, high-fat lifestyle for 3 years. Somebody sent me information about being on keto doesn't help or let a woman get pregnant. That's bullcrap. Because I have multiple women who are patients of mine who have PCOS. And a ketogenic diet is the only thing that allowed them to get pregnant. So I think that's, whoever told you that doesn't know what they're talking about. My mom is Japanese and I can't eat raw fish. Because your mom's Japanese? I love raw fish. Raw fish is great. Melissa Thurgood says, working as an EMT, staying in ketosis is not easy. Use exogenous ketones, Melissa. Your lifestyle is like mine. Organic olive oil for the do-it-yourself mayonnaise. So yeah, olive oil. So Nicole, Chef over here on Periscope, Nicole says to use organic olive oil. She likes that one. Do you advocate green drinks in your veggies? No, I do not. You don't need to get your veggies in. There's no dramatic need for huge amounts of veggies. 1 to 2 cups of leafy greens a day is all you need, especially if you're eating eggs. What would be your recommendation for a T2 who is afraid to stop eating 6 small carb meals a day because of blood sugar swings? Well, number one, the person who's type 2 diabetes, if they're having dramatic blood sugar swings, then they need to make sure they're actually type 2 diabetic. But I would tell them, eat more fat and you'll be, well, let me back up. Each type 2 diabetic is slightly different. And so it's hard to give direct advice. I can't give direct advice in that regard. All I can say is I have multiple type 2 diabetic patients who do very well when they convert to their ketogenic lifestyle. Now, if they're still taking their diabetic medicines, they need to talk directly to their doctor about removing or lowering the medicines because they're not eating near as much carbohydrate, and that may be causing them to have the blood sugar swings. So the medications are what's key there. Great, thanks a lot, says Ivy. Okay, cool. Chef Slow-Mo says, thumbs up. All right, that's it. I'm changing my name. It's John. John, that's awesome. Chef, Chef, you're going to need, or John, you're going to need to put in the phonetic spelling of Chef Slow-Mo. I'm assuming that's what it is. I'm not sure. So he's giving me hearts. Anyway, thank you for the hearts. Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't shared this out with your friends, your neighbors, your family, even the neighbor you don't like. Whoever you asked about, whoever was asking about cottage cheese, share this with your neighbor after you give them the cottage cheese. Well, actually, that's not a good idea. Then they'll realize why you gave them cottage cheese. All right. Understandable. Thanks. Okay, doctor. Okay. You're awesome, says Raymond. Oh, you're very kind, Raymond. Have you heard of hair loss on keto? I've heard of hair loss in all diets, and it always happens. There a percentage of patients who change their diet, just the diet change itself will cause a hair cycle change. That's actually pretty normal. But if you're having persistent hair loss with a ketogenic diet, then you're probably either deficient in a vitamin or you're not eating enough protein. That's the key. Sharing is caring. Yes, Nicole, sharing is caring. So thank you for sharing this out. Thank you for the hearts. Go to my website, docmuscles.com. Check out our newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter. You can actually get a signed copy of my book. It's coming out, so sign up for the signed copy of my book when it's released on April 10th. Check out the membership site. Go to docmuscles.com/membership, and you can see the membership there, and check out a lot of really important stuff there as well. All the articles and the videos that I've done there that are in that membership site. I control my type 2 diabetes without meds by doing keto. Sky, I have a lot of patients that do that and do very well. Hello, Ronnie. Is it Ronnie? Ronnie from California here. Keep almost missing your live broadcasts. You didn't miss me today, Ronnie. You caught me. Bitcoin says, someone says that Periscope's breaking up. That's terrible. Can we use normal toothpaste? Well, I don't have any problem with normal toothpaste unless you're eating the toothpaste, Bitcoin. So that's where I'd say be a little cautious there. I don't swallow the toothpaste. I don't recommend that. But any toothpaste is probably fine. And I think you're probably asking about the xylitol that's in the toothpaste. As long as you're not swallowing, you're fine. All right, can't wait for transcripts and my audiobook. I can't either, Laura. So we gotta get rolling here. I need to get working on those transcripts, don't I? Hello, Brenda. You're new. Well, I'm new too, but I've been doing these videos for a while. If keto would stop gray hair, would that really be amazing? Kim, ketogenic diet actually slows the aging process. So I can't promise you it's going to stop your gray hair, but it's going to slow the number of hairs that pop out. Can you combine HCG diet with keto? I wouldn't. I'm not a fan of HCG, Brenda. Basically, we're giving you mega loads of a hormone. We're giving you 10 to 100 times the normal amount of the hormone you make when you're pregnant to get your brain to not be hungry. Basically, we're causing your brain not to be hungry so that when they give you a 500 calorie diet, you don't care. That's why I'm not a big fan of HCG because of the risks and the side effects. You are very appreciative. Wanda, you're very kind. You guys are awesome. Yeah, actually, you guys are fun because you actually make this fun for me. I get to be sarcastic at night when I come on here. All right, how long have I been on here? I'm looking on my thing to see if the timer's there. 56 minutes. Holy cow! This is going to be a long one. Anyway, all right. So I probably ought to wrap up. My wife is banging the pan like she's almost done with dinner, so I probably better go eat some food. If there's any other questions, pop them in really quick while I do a final closeout. Again, my name is Dr. Adam Nally. I'm a board-certified family physician. I'm a board-certified obesity medicine specialist coming to you live from Waddell, Arizona. I practice in Surprise, which is a suburb in the northwest corner of Phoenix in Arizona. Check out my website, docmuscles.com. Check out the Keto Cart. Check out the membership site. Check out the book, the signed copy of the book that's coming out. You guys are very welcome. Sherry says, thank you. Debbie says, do you do individual help? I see people in my office every day and help them individually, yes. And we also do telemedicine visits as well. What's for dinner? Taco soup is what my wife calls it. It's basically the innards of the taco in a little bit of a more liquidy form, and it's really yummy. Nicole says, we appreciate you. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Sky. Cheers, says Chad, with the two cheers there. Thank you from Kentucky, says Kim. You are welcome. Bonnie asked a question. I'm down 220 pounds. Congratulations, Bonnie. Oh, wait, that's Brenda's up. Let's see. Bonnie says, down 220 pounds, stalled for 5 months. I just did a 7-day fast and still didn't break your stall. So, Bonnie, there's a couple reasons for that. And you probably need to have your hormones and stuff checked, specifically estrogen, testosterone, thyroid, things of that nature. But when you lose that much weight, your body's going to halt the weight loss so it can remodel the skin. Your body has its own plastic surgeon, but he's kind of slow. So be patient with the skin remodeling and the connective tissue remodeling, because you will lose the skin as it shrinks down, and then the fat will begin to come off again. So, my average patient will lose 5 to 15 pounds every month for the first 3 months, and then 2 to 5 pounds per month thereafter, and then it slows that weight. Now, if there's something, if your skin is tightened up and everything's great there, then there's probably another hormone that we're missing that needs to be checked out by your doc. You ordered my book. Thank you, Janet. You are very welcome. Thanks, you guys, for logging in. You guys all have a great evening. My wife needs to write a keto recipe book. I've been trying to tell her that. Did you hear that, Tiffany? They all say you need to write a book. All of the people on live stream say you need to write a book tonight. A book, a keto recipe book. Anyway, I'm still live. Yeah.
Everybody else's recipes.
She says, well, she uses everyone else's recipes. We have this whole shelf of books of all the ketogenic books that are out there. They can actually see you. This is my wife, Tiffany. This is Tiffany.
Hi.
This is the first time she's ever been live in 2 years. If you're on here right now, this is like a landmark time. So it's amazing. This is my wife, Tiffany. She is I actually said, honey, guess what? We're doing this thing called ketosis, and you need to learn how to cook that way. So she, for a year and a half, tried to figure out how to cook in a ketogenic lifestyle. But she uses everybody's recipes.
Just made a chocolate cake.
She just, ooh, is that what you made? Is that what it smells so good? A ketogenic chocolate cake. Wanda says, yes, Keto Wife Cookbook. They're all saying yes there. Learned a lot. Bonnie, you're amazing. Let's see here. Oh, it's about, so Faith says, Tiffany, it's about time we meet you. And then Linda says, you're beautiful. And Sky says, you're beautiful. She's very shy, as is my daughter. You guys are awesome. All right, I need to go eat, and there's chocolate cake, ketogenic chocolate cake. So you guys all need to, I'll have to, which recipe did you make tonight, Tiffany? What recipe did you use tonight to make the chocolate cake? Oh, she's going to post it on the Keto Clan. Oh, those of you who signed up on Keto Clan, she's going to post it there. All right. Have a good night, guys. I missed all the Periscope folks telling me how awesome they are and how awesome the show tonight was. Thank you, guys. You're very kind. All right. Seriously, she needs to put together a book for us. Yes, I've been working on her for years, trying to get her to put. My wife is one of those people that she'll whip up a recipe in her head and cook it, and it tastes amazing. And I'll ask her, honey, what did you do? And she goes, I don't remember. And so I actually have to follow her around, or get my daughter to follow her around with a pencil and write down what she does with the recipes. That's how she cooks. She has that gift. All right, well, have a good evening. So remember, guys, tonight, keep the fat high, keep the carbs low, and pass the bacon right after I eat the chocolate cake. Have a good evening. Good night, guys. Bye.